Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Welcome to the Ango Show. It is March 18th, 2025, and I'm here joined by Billy TKO. Obviously, a very eventful weekend. I was out of town for the weekend, but I did watch SmackDown, and of course, I did watch Raw yesterday. And obviously, just a big weekend for professional wrestling, and more specifically for WWE. So I appreciate you guys joining us today. We're going to be live. We're going to be talking about everything. As always, we love it when you guys help drive the conversation further. Our shows really thrive on your guys' conversation drivers. So if you guys want to support the channel, the best way to do that is with a super chat. Of course, we will do special shout outs. We'll read your questions, your comments, all that good stuff. And obviously, there's just a lot to talk about. We're on the road to WrestleMania. Billy TKO, shout out to you, my man. Welcome back.
Thank you, brother.
It feels good
Pleasure
to be back. Yes, sir. Sam Piboon is already kicking things off today with a super chat. He says, hey, Ango and Billy, do you think we will see Joe Hendry be a tag team partner with Jey Uso next week on Raw? I think this is a fantastic question. Again, it's a $9.99 super chat. Billy, do you think, they're going to be in Glasgow, Scotland? And obviously Joe Hendry is rumored to be the tag partner of Jey Uso next week. Do you think WWE pulls it off?
It would be really interesting, right? Because that would kind of solidify the TNA partnership, right? Saying like anybody could show up, especially on the main roster and not just NXT. So I think that'd be pretty interesting. Although there is a part of me that just doesn't think that'll be true. I did see somebody in the chat. They said Otis, and I could actually see Otis potentially being that mystery tag team partner. It may be a little bit more in our face than we think. I don't know. I'd love to see Joe Hendry. I just don't know if it happens.
You know, it's interesting, Billy, because one of the things about the IWC is sometimes we overhype stuff and we come up with these ideas and these things that sound cool on paper, and then obviously people get really disappointed when a narrative gets spread through the internet like wildfire, and then it doesn't happen, and then people get really pissed at WWE or AEW for it not happening. I think this is one of those things, though. If I were WWE, you absolutely have to bring Joe Hendry out, and there's one big particular reason as to why.
Why is that?
I feel like Jey Uso is getting heavily criticized in the IWC, and throughout this live stream, we're definitely going to talk about it in this live stream because of yesterday there was a little bit of controversial takes on social media about Jey Uso, but I do feel like we are kind of at a weird stage right now. As I watch WWE, I think there's a lot of people in the IWC, not the people buying tickets, right, but the people behind the keyboards. Which you can't forget about them because they are part of the audience as well. But I think a lot of people have been very controversial. They've had some controversial takes about Jey Uso and his wrestling ability. And I think when you look at the ultimate popularity with Jey Uso and the Yeet and the crowd and everybody going crazy for him, I think WWE can kind of change the narrative here. They could kind of control the narrative, so to say. Yeah. And by having Joe Hendry come out and be his tag team partner in Scotland, it's not only going to be guaranteed a massive reaction, but it would change the tonality and it would change the rhythm and the momentum, I feel like, for the road to WrestleMania. I was
about to say, so you think if they add Joe Hendry kind of into the mix here with Jey Uso, they could possibly pull some of that negativity away from Jey Uso that he's been receiving online?
Absolutely. And I think that's why Joe Hendry needs to be there. I think if you really look at it from what WWE has done, especially just this past week with Jey Uso squashing Austin Theory, right? People are calling it a crossbody. They're not calling it a spear. It's become this really weird thing. And to be honest with you, I didn't look at it as a crossbody. I don't know what your take is on that, but to me, it just feels like a lot of people have been very, very outspoken, and a lot of people are very upset with this idea that maybe Gunther versus Jey Uso is the main event. And like, listen, if you're Triple H, what do you do here? Because Triple H is very, very... He's very in the know of what's happening on the internet. But at the same time, too, it's like these people are spending their money on tickets. This European tour is like sold out. WWE's killing it. If you're Triple H, do you care too much about what these people on the internet are saying? Or,
So to answer what you're about to say here, when it comes down to what does Triple H think, I don't think he thinks anything. Dude, the internet the IWC makes up such a small populated amount of people that watch pro wrestling. It's not, the kids going out and buying the t-shirts. It's the dude sitting on the couch with a bag of chips. You know what I'm saying? Like, who is more important to me right now? Well, I'm going to take the kid buying my merchandise rather than the dude watching from his 32-inch TV in a living room on a couch eating a bag of chips. I'm just going to be straightforward here and say, like, Triple H probably doesn't really care. Like, the big thing on the internet yesterday was how Jey Uso botched a move. I find that to be very, very funny. As if the big thing is not allowed to be human and make a mistake. These things happen, and it's not like a move that Jey Uso doesn't do. Like, we've seen him do it numerous times. Mm-hmm. So people going out on the internet and hating this guy, it just fueled the fire for what they already talked about. Like, all the people that didn't want Jey Uso and Gunther, it just kind of fueled that fire a little bit more for people. Oh, well, look at what he did here in the crossbody. It was a spear. I mean, God, let it be. Let it be.
Yeah.
People just love to... It's like fake outrage, dude. It's like, I just want to hate this guy because WWE, I don't think he should be the guy right now. That's how people think. So if the internet wrestling community told you 6 months down the line that Jey Uso should be the guy, then 6 months down the line, those people would be banging down your throat like, please, make Jey Uso the guy. Why isn't Jey Uso the guy? Look at everything he's doing. They love to make false narratives. So the only reason they don't like Jey Uso right now is because Jey Uso isn't their favorite. He's not doing all the cool moves, and he's not doing all that. Regardless of the fact the dude is selling tickets, it's hard to hate on him, and the people that do, it's just fake.
I do feel like it is definitely forced, and it kind of goes back to the Joe Hendry thing, right? Like, it does feel like a lot of the hate online is forced because Jey Uso isn't like some indie darling, but at the same time too, it's... Man, if you look at WWE and just kind of how they operate, WWE is about giving people moments, and they are, I think at the end of the day, they don't put a lot of emphasis on what the IWC says, but I think they do pay attention somewhat to what the IWC says. So I do feel like if you bring Joe Hendry, if you bring it back to the Joe Hendry thing, you bring Joe Hendry, who is very, very incredibly over, by the way, from Scotland, right? And then you bring in... You bring in Jey Uso, who is incredibly over on this global scale. I think the narrative now kind of takes away from that conversation being about Jey Uso being a bad wrestler, quote unquote, but then more about, oh my God, look at this moment that WWE just pulled off. TNA World Champion Joe Hendry just showed up on Raw. And imagine Joe Hendry and Jey Uso making their entrance. I mean, bro, you're going to get video clips with millions and millions and millions of views, and that's WWE. That's how they operate. That's what they do. And I think for some reason, when you look at this forced hate about Jey Uso, I think WWE has to be conscious of it to a certain degree. But at the same time, too, I think WWE has to kind of realize, hey, we went with this decision for a reason. Let's not back down. And one thing I want to say, too, kind of going back to what you were saying, but just to add a little bit more, Jey Uso does not need to main event WrestleMania. And I see that narrative going around, too. It doesn't have to. It could, but it doesn't have to. And so I want to make that clear. You bring Joe Hendry in, Jey Uso, it changes a little bit of the narrative a little bit for a week or two. But when it comes to WrestleMania, if Jey Uso doesn't have a great match, I'm not really concerned about the match quality being like incredible. But as long as it's a good enough match and they sell me on the belief that Jey Uso can't win and they could get me emotionally invested in him possibly pulling it off, then they've done their job well. And I think one thing that needs to be said, Billy, because this is the problem with the IWC, a lot of people, they force their hate, but the reality is this. WWE is incredibly successful right now because of people buying tickets. People are invested emotionally into the product. And for that reason, that's always going to stand out more than just the moves. Jey Uso is not the best wrestler bell to bell as a singles guy. I feel like him as a tag team partner was great with him and Jimmy, and they've had certified bangers. But this is his chance to also change the narrative. So go out there. If you bring in Joe Hendry, kill it. And at WrestleMania, kill it even more to get these people off your back. But at the end of the day, that is not the end all be all.
So I'll just say, I don't want to spend too much more time talking about this, but I just want to say, with WrestleMania 41, I talked about it in the video. WWE has a really good problem on their hands. People's biggest argument is that Jey Uso should main event, night one of WrestleMania because he won the Royal Rumble, et cetera. WWE has told you numerous times that doesn't always secure the spot. It's the best story. They've told you that numerous times.
Yeah.
So I think the best way to utilize Jey Uso in this position is you have him kick off night one. It really sets the tone, right? We've seen what Jey Uso can do when walking out in front of a big crowd. He normally gets it rocking, right? Yeah. So what better way to necessarily set the tone rather than with Jey Uso?
Yeah, 100%. I do agree with you on that. Yeah. I'm good with that too, honestly. I really am.
Yeah.
We did get another super chat, so shout out to Sam Piboon for the $9.99 kicking things off. Tolino channel is back. He says for 100 rupees, when Cena said "I'm done with you, let's break up," and Cody's music hit, crowd was like, "Hey John, meet my new boyfriend." Bro, what did you think of the John Cena stuff last night?
Well, I'll start off by saying I made I thought it was funny, but I made a video. I said I apologized to John Cena because, truth be told, as a longtime supporter, he broke up with me last night. We split up. It was very serious. He pretty much for 20 minutes told me that I was the biggest piece of shit for ever supporting him.
Yeah.
So a little hurt, but got to sleep on it a little bit. I made the video and I told him, I said, maybe I should have asked about your feelings. And we didn't look too deep into that. Now, the serious side of this is, dude, what John Cena did last night was amazing.
Yeah.
It was picture perfect. It really was. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I thought everybody's mad that John Cena isn't this cool heel. He didn't come out with jeans. He didn't come out with new music.
That's the whole point.
I think as a heel, why do you want to be cool? I think that's a disrespect to the craft of professional wrestling. I think,
yes.
It's one of my biggest complaints that I've ever had about MJF. He's a great heel, but he's also a cool heel. There's a reason why people really like MJF. And I think the point of a good heel turn was, John Cena even pointing out the kid in the crowd, and then the kid in the crowd's face reaction was like perfect, right? Like, there was a level of John Cena's heel turn. The only issue that I had about John Cena's promo last night, the only concern that I had was why did he align with The Rock? And even that,
but you have 2 more weeks of TV with him right away.
Yes, and I think that's the thing. Like, there's a little bit more of it. So I wasn't disappointed. It would have been nice to get it right away. Like, I sold my soul to The Rock for this. But I do think that's actually part of a bigger story, so I'm willing to be patient,
Yeah, so can I give my quick analysis?
Yeah.
A lot of people, they criticized, because obviously we've seen Cody later in the night, or later in that program. So a lot of people criticized Cody for being the only one to speak. I seen that being like a big thing on the internet. It was like, oh, Cody was being protected, John would have buried him, et cetera, et cetera. I really want people, when we talk about the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
Because I think all speculation is out the window. I think we all know now for sure that John is actually done this year. He's made that very clear. Yeah. And I think that is the one thing to take here. Now, if you look at, and I'll give you a prediction of mine at the end of the statement. If you looked at when Cody delivered what he said to John Cena, if you looked at John Cena's face, you almost seen this sense of doubt, right? Yeah. Did I actually make the right decision? So when we talk about the long term, I think you have to look and be like, okay, I don't think this is how John Cena really ends his career, because they've already planted that seed of doubt in John Cena's mind.
Yeah.
Am I actually being a whiny ass bitch? Am I actually being that horrible person? And it's going to take him a minute, and we still got to get the explanation of The Rock and things like that. But eventually, what is going to take place here is you're eventually going to see John kind of snap out of it.
Yeah.
Now he'll have to, do the apology and things like that. But if you want my quick, we'll do a prediction show, obviously, when the time's right. But my easy prediction is that's why I think John Cena is actually going to lose at WrestleMania 41.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case. But, we'll get to that prediction show.
Yes.
Shout out to Toledo Channel for the super chat. The chat is actually moving really, really fast, guys. So I missed the super chat from Big Hero Chris, dropped $2, and he said we all let John Cena down. And I just wanted to point something out about that super chat. So shout out to Toledo Channel for that super chat, and then Big Hero Chris, thank you for yours, buddy. Appreciate you, man. We all let John Cena down. This is the one thing that needs to be given credit to John Cena. There's a lot of promos and a lot of heel turns where they blame the fans. However, I think all of those kind of come off corny and cheesy and relatively dumb. This is the first time I feel like I've heard a blaming the fans promo. You fans, I think really John Cena executed it incredibly well. He didn't change. He didn't change who he was. He just finally woke up and realized what we all saw. Like, especially when he talked about the butt of the joke thing, like the invisible Cena joke. Like, that to me was freaking great. The way he delivered that line, the way he looked into the cameras, the way he looked at the crowd. It was like this guy was finally fed up. And I think it works too when you have a guy who has not been heel in like 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's been so long since he's been a heel. Like, it's been so crazy to see that John Cena could get away with a, hey, you fans suck, right? You guys let me down type thing. And it's such a good point, bro.
Dude, the reversal of it. If anybody's ever watched Chris Van Vliet, Chris has actually talked to John Cena. And John always said, when turning heel, you just flip the narrative.
Yes.
You work less, right? You don't show up as much, et cetera, et cetera. And he literally did that, but he did it in a different way than I thought he would. Like, I thought he would scour away. Yeah. I thought he would, jump out of the ring when Cody came in, or just little shit like that. When actually what happened is he legitimately flipped the narrative. He still works hard. He still has drive. He's still loyal. He's still respectful. It's we're not. For 25 years, he told us to never give up. We've watched him be great from the couch.
Yeah.
He's the great one. He never gave up. And the way they I don't know, man. I've never seen anything like it. Just flipping the narrative completely and turning it into something that none of us could have predicted, right?
I agree.
It was just story. I mean, the dude's an actor, so we know he's good, right?
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was going to be that good.
I agree. 100% agree. And we'll definitely have more to say about that. Shout out to Big Hero Chris for that super chat. Toledo Channel came through with another 100 rupees. He says, new theme, new look. I don't listen to you. It's my time. That's a statement. Face, heel, and human being. Also like the John Cena Farewell Tour edition. So the thing is, like, with John Cena does he need new music? I do think my idea of him, like, walking out to no music would be great. Do that at WrestleMania. His music, what was cool though is when John Cena's music hit and he came out, and it's kind of like the same old shtick. The one thing that nobody's really pointing out, but it was a major difference in how we see John Cena and how we view him, is the fact that John Cena did not walk out and run to the ring. He walked out and, he did his normal shtick, but he just walked.
Slow.
He was slow. And it's funny because you brought up the Chris Van Vliet interview, and I do feel like to a certain extent that's kind of what he kind of meant, is like things in reversal. And like, I don't know, it was really cool. I don't think John Cena needs to be a cool heel, man. I look forward to seeing what happens in the next 2 weeks. I look forward to seeing what happens when he crosses paths with other people, because, and I think this is how we were talking about earlier with the IWC. Sometimes the IWC just has these cool ideas, and then it spreads through wildfire.
They run with it.
Yeah, they run with it, and then they get pissed it doesn't happen. But at the end of the day, the point of being a heel isn't to be cool. It isn't to be liked. It isn't to... John Cena really, like, he can't do that. You can't be this guy, especially John Cena. Like, let's just say your prediction's right, and John Cena loses at WrestleMania, which is fine. Let's just say that's the case. Then the heel turn is kind of pointless, because when you look at John Cena, he should be the same John Cena that we've always seen. It's kind of like when Cody Rhodes was a heel in AEW, where like people didn't realize he was a heel They thought he was babyface because he himself believed he was a babyface, but his actions were, different. So I feel like that's the thing that kind of works in professional wrestling. Those who really get it,
sure.
So if John Cena were to lose at WrestleMania, I think that really hurts. But if John Cena were to win at WrestleMania with this kind of character, I think it works so well. And then when John Cena truly unloads to being the bad guy, like right now, I think he's at the stage where it's like, I'm not a heel, I'm not a babyface, I'm a human being. Wrestling fans got really pissed about that, right? But at the end of the day, that is the point of his heel turn, is to say, listen, like, you guys...
I'm not the bad guy. You are.
Yeah. So the point is, he used insider terms. Bro, who gives a shit? He used insider terms on TV. WWE's using insider terms. Dude, it's the same thing I said about the AEW interview bullshit that happened. Like, is it stupid? Sure. But there's also a difference between calling it out on TV, hey, wrestlers know they're about to win, versus a wrestler saying, hey, I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy, I'm just a human being. And that's the thing that really, really matters, is like, that's how you got to deliver it.
Yeah, no, I actually, I would agree with that 100%, kind of going back to what you said a moment ago about like the heel turn not being cool. Yeah, it's not supposed to be. If you guys look back at like what Hulk Hogan did back in WCW, because that's what obviously people were going to compare it to always. The truth of this is that Hulk Hogan became cool. He wasn't a heel. He never really was, because he got cheered, right? He walked out. People had the NWO shirts. Now, granted, he did bad shit or whatever, but people cheered it because what he became was the anti-hero.
Yes.
It was cool to love him and cheer him, even though he was doing bad shit. When in reality, he was just anti-establishment. That's all he really was. With John Cena and what he's done, he's just told you that, no, I'm going to give you everything that you hated, and you're going to continue to hate it.
Yeah.
Because he knew, well, if I turn into a bad guy and I walk out there with the same theme song, dude, they're gonna boo the shit out of me. If I walk out in the jorts, if I walk out in the t-shirt, et cetera, they're going to hate me, because for years they did. They already hated him before. So he literally had to change nothing.
And they're so desperate. They're so desperate, by the way, of... Wrestling fans are so desperate to see a cool heel Cena that by him not giving the fans what they want is exactly what makes him a heel, because forever John Cena gave people what they wanted. And so that's what I like about this. And that's why I'll defend it, because I think that's what makes it different and that's what makes it better.
Agreed.
There was definitely some more super chats that came in, and guys, I apologize because the chat is literally just moving so fast that it's like it's not even allowing me to put them on the screen. So we got to get better at that. Phil dropped a $9.99. He says, I thought they nailed it. He doesn't have to change a thing about what he wears or the music he plays. What made that promo so special is the optics of it all. And if you truly think about it, he's right. And that's pretty much basically just doubling up on what we've said. But one thing that I think they should do is when John Cena comes out for WrestleMania, they should give him a massive entrance of some kind, something different. It's okay if they use his music, but maybe like something like Hollywood film set type shit. I don't know. What they should do.
I think not to get like too in depth with it, and I hate to interrupt you, but like doing something along the lines of like, taking like a bunch of B-roll footage of him on movie sets and things like that. I think that would be really cool.
The thing is, they keep seeing, like, everybody keeps sharing the picture of John Cena when he was in Fast and Furious, and he's wearing this slick back hair and the black jacket. Like, that's what they want John Cena to come out as a heel on TV. They don't have to do that. But I think if he comes out at WrestleMania and they give him, like, a massive, massive, massive entrance, dude, let him go out with a bang. It's his last WrestleMania. I genuinely believe this is it.
I think they're going to do that regardless.
Yeah. And that's when you save it. You save it for that. I think that's probably when you do it. But no need to do it now. And then, like you said earlier, too, there is a couple of weeks of TV. So
for sure, because I know he'll be on Raw next week and then the following week after that.
Which I'm good with. Yeah, I'm excited about it. Shout out to Phil for the $9.99. Tolino Channel came through with 100 rupees. He says WWE just stacked WrestleMania weekend till Tuesday, April 22nd. It's like a celebration of wrestling. WWE ID tournament on GCW, the Dead Man Show, Hall of Fame, SmackDown, Stand and Deliver, WrestleMania, Raw, and NXT. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty insane. When you look at WrestleMania week, they're going to continue to dominate, which is awesome. I think that's I think there's
Ango, we're in for a busy week.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. I know WrestleMania week is my favorite time on YouTube. It's the funnest time as a podcaster because there's just so much to talk about.
I have yet to experience it.
Yeah, so like this is huge, man. It's a huge thing. And what makes it really cool is for more that WWE stacks it, right, in Mondays and Tuesdays, well, that allows the other indie companies that are there to take advantage of all the people traveling for WrestleMania week. And Las Vegas is such a big tourist spot where it's like, even if you don't want to do something wrestling related, there is things you could do outside of that, which I think is really, really good. And I think that's what's going to make WWE incredibly successful is because, you know, I don't know if it was Mark Shapiro or who it was from the back end of TKO, but they were looking at like, hey, we want to make these massive events feel like celebrations. We want to make them feel like festivals in a sense, right? And like hearing that and seeing that narrative that they have about that to me is a really good thing because that just tells me WWE understands that there is a need for that in the professional wrestling sports industry. WWE has WrestleMania weekend, right? NBA has All-Star Weekend. NHL has that. NFL has Super Bowl and Pro Bowl weekend. Obviously, you know, all these other companies have something. WWE has the great end-all, be-all for professional wrestling. And Tony Khan doesn't have that with AEW. You know, they could get there eventually with All In and if they build upon it correctly. But when it comes to fanfare, fan fest type stuff, you know, because you got to remember with WWE, now I talked about it in my video today, by the way, but like having that announcement with GCW really helps GCW because GCW always does a great job WrestleMania weekend. They always sell out. They always do great things. They always do big things. But now you're getting WWE putting their logo and their stamp on it where guess what, bro? WWE is going to crown the WWE ID champions and then they're going to show footage from GCW and FSW. That's two indie companies that benefit from it. So now it's like it kind of WWE has kind of realized with this ID program, it's like, hey, not only do we do our WrestleMania festivities, the Hall of Fame and our Raws and SmackDowns and Stand and Delivers, but now we're even going to get a little piece of the pie with indie wrestling. We're going to be involved in that. And so now WWE long term just has this huge thing rolled out.
And the cool thing is everybody eats out of this.
100%.
Everybody gets a piece of the pie.
100%.
I love it. I love it.
100%. And that's going to be really exciting to see for sure. Like I'm super geeked about that.
And what a time to crown that ID champion, right? WrestleMania weekend.
So that's the first round. We'll see how long they keep it drawn out.
Is that the first round?
They're doing the first rounds on Friday after SmackDown and then Saturday or Sunday or something after. I forgot.
What a time to start it.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. So shout out to Tolino Channel for that super chat. Gregory Alvarado dropped $2. He says Bianca turning heel at Mania. Billy, what do you think about that? I don't want to do WrestleMania predictions just yet, but we could.
Yeah. But I don't know if this is necessarily a prediction because they could turn her heel next Monday. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do think that in the near future we're going to see Bianca turn and change her ways.
I'm gonna be real honest with you.
Do it at WrestleMania though.
It's kind of insane to think about this though because there's 3 women in a triple threat and they're all baby faces.
Yeah, well, one of them's not about to be.
I know. So who is it gonna be?
Bianca. It only makes sense. It's Bianca with the whole Jade situation and stuff like that. They want Jade over, dude.
I don't know. That's an interesting point. Yeah. We'll see what happens, but Bianca winning at WrestleMania would be pretty massive.
It would.
And if she did it as a heel. I mean, for all you know, like maybe 2 people turn heel. I don't know.
Yeah, bro. Who knows?
Maybe Io turns heel. Maybe that's the thing. Nobody expects it, and Io turns heel, and then Bianca loses, and then
I think they're gonna run with Dakota turning heel later on. Hold me to that.
I mean, my prediction is that Bianca and Rhea aren't walking out as champions, so that might change by the time. Yeah, as of now, I don't think. I think WWE clearly understands that there's been.
I think it's because she's being overlooked so much.
Yeah, there's.
I can see that. I can see that.
Maybe my opinion will change and my prediction will change for a WrestleMania prediction show, but we'll see when we get there. Thank you, Gregory Alvarado. Billy was spot on. This is according to a super chat from Tolino Channel. Billy was spot on. It's fans that turned on Cena most times. 2008 injury, 2013 people turned on Cena for Bryan. He was the one who showed never give up. Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it. It's the thing that Billy mentions too, where it's like it's the when you look at John Cena's promo, and me and Billy were talking about like you blaming the fans. John Cena has every right to blame the fans for his heel turn. Why did he sell his soul, bro? I mean, he literally made it clear. Like, he doesn't even have to talk about why he specifically aligned with The Rock, but he very much made it clear, like, without necessarily saying it, I'm giving you guys what you wanted. This is what you wanted.
No,
by the way, you actually didn't want it. You said you wanted it, but you didn't want it because you wanted to constantly hate on me. That's in a weird way. That's the vibe I got from it.
Like I said, I tweeted it out yesterday. I said my stomach's in knots, and this was before he had walked out.
Yeah.
Something about Cena being a bad guy. Like, I was so excited for it, but also in that same breath, I was like, I don't know if my stomach can bear to witness it. And I know that sounds dramatic. We're talking about fucking pro wrestling, for Christ's sake. But truth of the matter is like, dude, I grew up watching that guy. That guy was my favorite. And it was kind of, I had seen a picture, and it was of the kid that they panned to during the shot. And it was like my inner child watching John Cena belittle me for 20 minutes and tell me I'm a piece of shit for ever cheering for him.
Yeah.
I think that is like the greatest example of how yesterday felt. Yeah. Because he legitimately had every right to say all of those things that he said. Somebody doing this, a lot of the times, we've talked about Drew McIntyre being a person who had like a very logical heel turn because of everything that's happened. Kevin Owens has also had a very, very logical one. Nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, will ever be more logical than what just happened to John Cena.
Yeah.
We have booed, we have cheered, we have hated, we have loved, we have done all those things. Emotionally, that will mess with somebody, and that's called toxic.
Yes. Exactly. 100%. Shout out to Tolino Channel for the super chat. Phil coming through with another $9.99. I just hope this heel run for Cena isn't only for WrestleMania season. I get it that if you wanted to have him be babyface in the last 2-3 months of the run, but let this go for a while. And I think really the best way to do it is, Survivor Series could very well be his last pay-per-view, which is at the Intuit Dome. I mean, if you really, really want, what you can do is before Survivor Series or during Survivor Series, switch teams, right? Like, if it depends what route they go, because if they do War Games, for example, and John Cena's on The Rock's team and it's like bad guys, imagine John Cena turns on The Rock and them, and
they're missing like the good guys are missing a member or something like that.
Yeah, and I don't know, when is Survivor Series? Usually it's in November. And they don't typically do December pay-per-views, but maybe they should do one for John Cena.
I think if you want to do one for Cena, I think number one, you'd sell that no problem. It is kind of funny talking about Survivor Series, though, because I did see it was kind of floating around online that the chances were that it could potentially come to Detroit. I was going to lose my mind.
So there's so here's the thing, though. When I heard whispers of a pay-per-view coming to Detroit, I was told specifically, so I'll talk about this. Detroit is in the running for a PLE. So now the question is it this year or next year? From what I was told, it was this year, and I was very specifically told that it was going to be anywhere from like October to November. And I don't know, I can't remember when they did Bad Blood, but I want to say Bad Blood was in October.
That was in October, yeah.
So maybe that's what it is. Maybe Intuit Dome is Survivor Series, and then LCA is.
Because I seen that it could have potentially been Money in the Bank or Survivor Series. Those were the two that I seen floating around online. But I knew Survivor Series was kind of at the top of the list to potentially be the one that comes to Detroit. Now, if they do Bad Blood here, I'll go insane.
Awesome. You bring us a PLE in Detroit, it's going to be insane. But I think, but if they're smart, they should do a pay-per-view in December. And honestly, just like how AEW did Revolution and they built it around Sting, I would do pay-per-view in Boston in December. And that could be John Cena's final match as the main event, as you dedicate the show to him.
Not to get too far off here. Who do you have him go against in his final match?
If he wins number 17 at WrestleMania, then he drops the belt to Cody. To Cody. Yeah, he drops the belt to Cody, back to Cody, and that becomes the official passing of the torch, the official John Cena farewell. John Cena, He goes
like
and he raises Cody's arm, and that's how you end the pay-per-view. That's what I would do personally speaking, but you never know. Obviously, it depends. There's so much time from now until then. It's kind of hard to predict.
And it feels like it's moving so fast, but it's not.
I know. But
it's crazy.
Enjoy it now, guys, because eventually John Cena's done, and that's pretty crazy to think about.
It is, man. It is, because he is very serious. He is done. Because again, him not changing anything told me that he was done this year.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Exactly. Shout out to Phil for the $9.99 and Digital Films coming through with $6.99 Canadian dollars. He says if Braun loses to Penta, he will help Cena win. Heyman will be his manager in the Rock stable. I think a big swerve has to happen. So I don't know if anybody remembers this conversation that me and Billy had last week, but we were talking about people that could potentially join the Rock and John Cena and Travis Scott, right? Braun Breaker could very well be that guy. It moves him up to the main event, right? We also even threw out the names Ethan Page and Ricky Saints because of the ties to Ethan and The Rock and Ricky and Cody. There's a lot of ways to go about it. I do think Penta and Braun could very well be a singles match based on what we've seen yesterday. Yep. Maybe we still get a multi-man match. I don't know. But Penta should very well be Intercontinental Champion. They've been very stellar in the way they've built him up. Yesterday, they even gave him a better entrance. I don't know what the fuck it is with WWE, but they love
getting better every week.
Yeah, every week they find a way to make Penta's entrance bigger and better. This guy is an incredible talent. He's incredibly over. It's working out in his favor. So if you wanted to have Braun lose to Penta and then move up to the main event scene with The Rock and John Cena and everything like that, I'm cool with that too. I have no problem with that. I don't know who it's going to be, but I will say this in Digital Films. When you say I think a big swerve has to happen, brother, I think we have many swerves that are coming. I don't think they have to happen. I think they are happening. And you know, some things are probably in front of our eyes that we just haven't paid attention to. I think there's also that conversation piece of, hey, Stone Cold can't wrestle, but he'll probably be in Las Vegas, right? More than likely he's in Las Vegas. So I think there is that element of like, hey, we are going to have some big moments and some big swerves and some big things.
Got to stick around to find out.
Yeah, and that's basically what it is they're making us be patient, and they're, you know, they're going to take us for a wild ride. I have a lot of confidence in that.
Yeah, man. That's an understatement.
No.
They're doing something special right now. I don't know what it is, but it's happening.
Yeah. Shout out to In Digital Films for the Super Chat. Tolino Channel coming back with 100 rupees. I want Rikishi to get involved in Jey versus Gunther feud. Till now, the feud is filled by fillers. I want Gunther to play mind games with Jey. Gunther attacks Pops. You know, I think really this is a great idea, and everybody wants to see Rikishi get his ass kicked by somebody in the WWE because of the fact that obviously his sons are in the WWE, and we didn't see him involved in the Bloodline stuff. I would have no problem. I don't know if you guys remember when Scott Steiner or Rick? No, it was Rick Steiner on NXT when Braun Breaker, you know, had to deal with that shit. And that was really cool, right? So like, why not do something similar with Rikishi and Gunther? Gunther attacks Pops.
They easily can.
Yeah,
that would make a lot of sense. And I think this is more personal than the Bloodline situation because this is directly involving Rikishi. It's his son.
Yeah.
Rather than like his nephew or something like that, or cousin or whatever. It directly involves him. Like, this is my kid you're messing with here. I think that'd be good. But I think that also could potentially, again, it's all going to come down to if they want to make, how they want to view Jey. I don't know, because part of me is like, would it make Jey look weak in the sense that his dad like would come out to defend his honor or something like that? I don't know.
So I think the response to that, though, is you can do something where Rikishi is advertised for Raw, and you do a backstage segment with him giving Jey Uso a pep talk before WrestleMania. You know, you do it before WrestleMania, the go-home show. You do the go-home show where Rikishi is backstage giving Jey a pep talk, getting him prepared, you know.
Yeah.
Rikishi didn't win the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, right? So, hey, son, like, this is your opportunity to make a legacy for our family, just like your cousin Roman. You know, like, you could do things like that where Rikishi's talking to him backstage. And then you can do where Jey Uso has to have a match on the go home show with somebody. Rikishi's backstage and Jey Uso's in that match, and he gets distracted because on the screen you see Gunther destroying the locker room with Rikishi in there. And then what you do is you have Jey Uso, who's so distracted by this, he gets rolled up pinned, right? He loses the match. Jey Uso gets out of the ring looking for Gunther, and he goes to check on Rikishi and starts brawling with Gunther. And there you go. You have your moment right before WrestleMania. Jey Uso, his father just got his ass beat. Now you're getting the emotional attachment of people like, okay, now you want Jey Uso to win.
Fair. That's fair.
I think that works out.
I can see that. Yeah, it does.
Shout out to Tolino Channel for that super chat. He follows up with 40 rupees. He says, I'm let down by the Backlash announcement. Let it be international. So they announced Backlash is coming to St. Louis. Obviously, Randy Orton cut a promo video promoting it. I think a lot of people are kind of torn on this, and quite honestly, I don't mind it being in America. However, what I will say is this, and this is like the really, really big thing. The international crowds have become so good for PLEs, but now they're giving us international crowds for TV. So if we're getting like a European tour, for example, and maybe they do like a South America tour or, something else, right? Let's say they go they do TV internationally, right? Then I'm okay with the pay-per-view not being international.
Yeah, because everybody has to eat, man. And all it's going to do is make the American crowd more hungry. You know what I mean? It's going to make them want to top what the international crowds are doing. And
if St. Louis doesn't go off, then of course that's going to be a very, very big deal.
Yeah, and people will make that a very big talking point.
It will be. And that would be so embarrassing for the fans of St. Louis to be like, it's kind of become synonymous at this point. If you look at WrestleMania and all these other big time events, if you want like, for example, if St. Louis wants a WrestleMania, or better yet, even a better example, because we're from Detroit, if we want Detroit to get a WrestleMania, brother, you guys got to buy tickets and you got to be loud as fuck. You can't be asking for WrestleMania and then not be loud and not be giving them what they want. Like, I think very well, if you look at Belgium, and an outstanding crowd. I mean, literally, AJ's doing a backstage promo and like the crowd is just so loud you can hear it like very, very, very well. Then I think you need to realize, hey, if Belgium wants a pay-per-view now, and if they are asking for a pay-per-view, how do you not consider one? How do you not consider?
What we seen last night,
Like, how do you not consider it though? So if you're St. Louis, if you're a fan in St. Louis and you're desperate for a WrestleMania, first of all, buy tickets, right? And then show up to the pay-per-view and go crazy. Show exactly why WWE did not make a mistake. But if you're gonna go out there, and I say this about any crowd, like this is a real big thing. For a while, Detroit wasn't getting WWE events. They were just getting TV. They stopped getting PLEs for a while. But I remember when Hell in a Cell came, I think it was like 2017.
2017.
Yeah, like when Detroit came, the crowd was crazy. So then it kind of changes the narrative. And then what happens? WWE got SummerSlam, right? So like it changes the narrative when the crowd goes crazy and the crowd goes off and stuff. So, hey, listen, I understand that you're kind of upset about the Backlash announcement. And again, this is also a direct fault of the IWC and Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer got Wessel voted, not Wrestle voted. He got Wessel voted. It was like it's like those parody accounts with news. They posted a thing of like Backlash Mexico, and Dave was like, "Oh, there's your announcement for Backlash Mexico." He did it a couple months ago, and everybody was like, "Oh shit!" Like he thought it was like people thought it was legit because of Dave Meltzer. He botched that. So now the thing is, everybody was kind of anticipating, oh, Backlash was supposed to be international. Crowd. Yeah.
I will say though, WWE did a really good job. They had Cena and Orton as the poster, and them at Backlash. If you guys don't know the history, they fought at Backlash. It was in 2007 in that Fatal 4-Way match. That is what I want to see: Orton and Cena at Backlash. I don't know how we get there, but we got to get there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things they could do, man. I think that's the fun part about it, though. Shout out to Tolino Channel for the super chat. I see a lot of people in chat. I think we're caught up on super chats. Okay, cool. If you guys have any more super chats, get those in. I think one of the things I keep seeing in the chat, and I know David Decker kind of pointed it out too, but have you seen the Karrion Kross Dominic Mysterio thing? So Dakota Kai is walking through backstage, and then Karrion Kross is talking to Dom. Billy, what's your reaction to that? And then do you think, obviously with the Judgment Day and you see them, possibly adding a new member, what are you thinking? Obviously, Dominic mentioned something about Penta being in the Judgment Day. He got his ass super kicked hard as hell. But what do you make of that? When you see that backstage interaction, what are you thinking?
Number one, WWE does such a good job at those little things, those just tiny things that they're like, hey, you should probably notice that. WWE does a phenomenal job at that. But my initial thought is Dominic Mysterio is the most conniving little shit I've ever seen in my life. And Finn Balor's right, he's a snake. And I think Karrion Kross would feed very well into the Judgment Day, but also in the same breath, I'm like, he can just kind of live on his own in his own world. I don't think he needs anybody, but if you want to get him out into the ring and stuff like that, I think you could do something with him in the Judgment Day. But I think you could build a really good feud between Finn Balor and Karrion Kross, like in particular. So that would excite me.
Yeah.
But that's my initial thought when I see those two standing together, talking, whatever the case is. I don't know, man. There's WWE just has so many underlining things that you have to pay attention to, like the way Dom looked at the Intercontinental Championship. Like, is he wanting the Intercontinental Championship? So many underlining things that are just continuously happening. Just very interesting.
Yeah, I agree for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I think Karrion Kross he's got to have a massive singles feud at some point. So I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think really they're going to get the ball turning on that on the road after WrestleMania.
That's what my thought is.
But I am curious. I don't want to see him join. One thing, I don't want to see him join the Judgment Day.
Well, I do think like what they could do is you have. Here's the thing: is Karrion Kross is so good at getting under everybody else's skin. Somebody needs to get under his skin. And I think people are, obviously we've all picked up on like what Karrion Kross is doing. But they need to now find somebody who gets under Karrion Kross's skin. And I think that person could be somebody like Finn Balor, who naturally just gets under his skin.
Yeah, but
it'd be good.
But I think Finn Balor needs to get turned into the demon and do that thing too, you know?
For sure. But Finn Balor can point out Karrion Kross's flaws. And then it gets very serious, it gets very heated, and that's how you get the demon, right?
Yeah. That's true, too. Karrion Kross could be the one that brings the demon out of him.
Yep.
I like it. Tolino Channel dropping 100 rupees. He says, imagine Chad getting a championship opportunity and the champ rips off the mask. Crowd goes nuts and Chad rolls up the champ to win the title.
That'd be fire.
It's a fire idea. The problem that I have with this idea is like now I'm already sold. I'm sold on Penta.
Yeah, I know. It needs to be Penta, but every bone in my body is also like damn, like we're just gonna keep letting this happen to Chad Gable.
Which is so, man, why couldn't American Made just get moved to SmackDown and put Chad Gable? Oh my God, bro. Do it during the draft. Keep the Street Profits as champions. American Made versus the Street Profits. Chad Gable gets involved in the U.S. title picture. Oh, and by the way, his lucha problem is still not taken care of because Rey Fenix is on SmackDown. Like, bro, there's so many things they could do, but holy shit.
There really is.
People in the chat don't think that's Chad Gable in the American Made mask.
Who the fuck would it be?
It's got to be Chad Gable, bro. He'd be doing the German suplexes.
German suplexes, right?
It's Chad Gable. If it's not Chad Gable, then what kind of swerve is it? It can't be Rey Fenix. I mean, he is going to SmackDown, so.
Right. I mean, who do people really think it is?
I don't know, man. Who do you guys actually think it is?
Right. If it's not Chad Gable, then who is it?
That's a serious talking point, by the way, because I can't think of for any, like...
I can't think of a name. Somebody said Brad Gable.
No, man. Don't do that. Don't do this Elijah storyline all over again, you know? For real, because that's a problem.
Yeah, no. They're big. Everybody in the chat is being funny.
Oh, they're just being funny.
Okay. Yeah, they're just joking.
I was gonna say, man, you can't do that. I'm sorry.
No, they're not doing that for real. Somebody said that was Ray Finnick.
Bro, come on, Manny. I don't know. I'm 100% convinced it's Chad Gable. I don't see why it wouldn't be Chad Gable. And
Chad Gable, bro. Everybody agrees.
bro, it says
it's
American
Chad
made
Gable.
on the mask.
Right.
I do like the idea of him like winning the belt. You know, he rolls up the champ or some shit.
Yeah, it was when he said gracias that really gave it away.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the payoff for it is. They have my interest now, but I don't know what the payoff is. So once we get to it, we'll see what happens. But
Brad Mabel.
Clark Gable. Like, bro, come on. No more of these.
They're trolling in the chat, bro.
Yeah, please don't.
It's the return of the conquistador.
Wait, who said that? No.
Oh, my goodness.
No. I don't know, man. What do I know?
Yeah. What do you know?
I mean, it is Chad Gable. I'm not changing my mind on that, but where is it going is the real question.
David Decker said Conman made a joke that he was actually yeeted off by the Wyatt Six, and it's his twin brother. Shout out Con. That's hilarious.
It's El Americano, not Gable. Is that what they called him on commentary?
Ain't no way that's what they called him.
I don't always be watching with commentary, but I know the trademark was Grande Americano.
Grande Americano?
Somebody made a fucking joke on Twitter. I can't remember who it was, but they were like, they're like, oh, that was WWE naming their wrestler after a Starbucks drink. We did get a super chat. Okay. Shout out to Toledo Channel. Phil dropping $9.99. He says, I'm all Judgment Day'd out. I get that they're still prominently featured, but I think Baylor needs to turn babyface, go demon, and punch Dom in the face. No new members. Karrion should be on his own. Yeah, I agree.
What'd you call him?
Who?
What'd you call Finn?
What do you mean what I call Finn?
Pronounce his last name again?
Baylor.
It's Balor.
Finn Balor.
Who's that? He doesn't play for the basketball team.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. We figured out that problem. I agree. I am Judgment Day'd out as well.
I've been Judgment Day'd out, though. I feel like I've been talking about that for a very long time.
Yeah. It's just, it feels like it's been everlasting.
But remember what I said, though, man. Like, they have, they kind of did this bullshit where it just went a little too long.
Yeah, it did. It as soon as Rhea and Damian left, that's really when we should have started seeing those pieces kind of fall down.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Finn needs to go babyface. I agree with that. He is going demon. I know he's going to get that big push. That is in the plans. That's kind of where this is all leading to. But
agreed.
You know, I do agree Karrion should be on his own. I don't think Karrion, after watching what they did with Karrion's last group, I feel like Karrion is just so much better without Final Testament.
A group.
Yeah. So it's like
without a group, he doesn't need them.
Yeah, and I feel like if he was going to have a group, he needs to be like a dark, sinister group, not JD McDonough and Carlito, and like
it's not a rock group.
Yeah, the thing about listen, I'm very proud of Dom and what he's done, but
for sure,
I don't know, just very tough, very hard to say what's going to happen here. So I don't know.
Yeah, me too. Interested to see.
Shout out to Phil for the super chat. Toledo Channel coming through again with 40 rupees. Pierce books Americano versus Gable to find out truth. No, because the thing is, this Americano Grand Chad Luchador Gable is it's not he's not permitted on the roster, bro. Security keeps taking him out. I love the fact that Chad Gable does a freaking flying headbutt under the mask. This guy doesn't even do a freaking 5-star frog splash or some shit. What kind of luchador is this, bro?
It's the worst luchador. He's doing German suplexes all around and shit.
Yeah, bro, it's Chad Gable. I don't know why we're even talking about this. Right or wrong, bro?
Oh, what if it's not?
I don't know what the fuck they got planned.
No, me either.
Yeah. Phil did ask, shout out to Tolino Channel, by the way, for the super chat again. I'm going to throw Phil's comment up because this is a good one.
Yeah.
Graves over Pat. Thoughts on this topic, Ango and Billy?
I'll let you answer first.
I like Pat McAfee. I think Pat McAfee is fun. I think he adds a lot of fun energy to commentary. I think Corey Graves is the better commentator and better. I think Corey Graves is a more natural tone, more natural voice for commentary. So
I will say, go ahead.
I just want to say, I don't think Pat McAfee needs to be there every week. I'm at the point where I do feel like it's kind of tiresome. If I actually had it my way, I wish Joe Tessitore and Corey Graves called Raw. Or I'm sorry, Joe Tessitore and Michael Cole called Raw, and then Corey Graves and Wade Barrett called SmackDown. And then I think Pat McAfee shows up for the big shows, pay-per-views, just to add a little bit more of that fun. You know, when you do the international tour, you bring in Pat McAfee if you want. But this is the problem that I have. I'm gonna say this too, man. I'm really tired of Pat McAfee coming and going. I understand he's got a lot of other things to do, but you know, I'm a big fan of Vic Joseph. So it's like if you call up Vic Joseph, you want if you want, you know, like there's things that you can do. I just think naturally speaking, WWE probably should make a change. Joe Tessitore is killing it on SmackDown, so it's like part of me would love Joe Tessitore on Raw with Michael Cole. And then just because they would be such an electric voice together on that show, just like, you know, more sport-like, more high energy and more impact. But I think Corey Graves is better than Pat McAfee for sure. I like Pat McAfee a lot. I'm not saying anything negative about him. I just think at this point it's like a little too much fun on commentary.
So I think they do it out of love for Michael Cole.
Yeah.
I think just because of the relationship that Michael and Pat have is why Michael, you know, why Pat is sitting where he's sitting, because I think we all can agree that Corey is the actual better commentator. I think that's just naturally known.
Yeah.
But when you talk about having a good time and wanting to love where you work and wanting to do the things that you love, Michael Cole sitting next to Pat McAfee, I mean, dude, let's be real here. We all said it when it first happened. Michael Cole looks like he's having so much fun next to Pat McAfee.
He is.
Does. And for me, I'm kind of in agreement with you here that I hate to see him like come and go all the time. But there is a part of me that is like, I understand why WWE does it, and I'm not gonna sit here and bombard them or bash them because they have Pat with Michael, because I understand that Pat and Michael have a certain type of dynamic that works for the both of them, and people can hate Pat or whatever they want, but I think regardless of the fact, you have to appreciate the fun that Pat has brought to a regular Monday night, you know, that hasn't been seen in God knows how long. It's exciting to watch. He's standing on the tables, he's eating, he's bringing high energy. And, you know, somebody in his field who does like, you know, these podcasts and these talk shows, et cetera, that field has been missing for a long time. So him bringing this high energy is really what helps, I'll just say it, me personally, get through a show like Monday Night Raw. Because here's the thing, Ango, you say like Joe Tessitore and Michael Cole and how they would be a great voice together. I would agree with you, but I think it would almost be too much voice, if that makes sense.
That does make sense too. I get it. It's a very tough conversation, to be honest. It's just it's the vibe that you're going for, and I don't know, man. It's really tough, to be honest.
Yeah. You know, Pat reminds me. Who just posted that in the chat? Brian McCaddy. He had posted how Tessitore is like a calm Mauro Ranallo. I would actually compare Pat to some style of Mauro Ranallo. Obviously not on the same level when it comes to explaining things and things of that nature, but the high energy that Pat brings is very much like Mauro.
Yes, yeah, that's a good point. I like that. Brian McCaddy dropped a super chat for $2. He says Americano giving off serious Pegasus Kid vibes. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of get it. I kind of get it.
Right. I can see it with the mask and stuff like that.
Wasn't Pegasus Kid Chris Benoit?
Yes. In New Japan. Right? It was in New Japan.
I can't remember, bro. I want to say it was, yeah, but...
Yeah, because him and Eddie wrestled in New Japan.
I'm going to take your word for it, but I want to say yeah.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but...
I don't know. I just think it's kind of... Oh, Brian's saying because of the mask and the diving headbutt. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but they're not going to do that. I mean, they're not going to... Did they make... I don't think WWE would have ever mentioned... Did they mention Pegasus Kid on commentary?
Oh, hell no.
I was going to say, I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking.
Dude, they buried all of that shit real far away.
I mean, hey, I'm just saying. I don't know. To me, Chad Gable is I just think they put him in a mask. The storyline was conquering the luchadors, and then that's kind of what they did, right? He went to go conquer the luchadors, and
here he is, suplexing people away. Not doing luchador shit, but maybe they told him, just be yourself. Just put on a mask.
Dude, it's so crazy to think about WWE putting Chad Gable in a mask, and he still gets everything over. But, like... There was a time period where we were so convinced he was going to be the next Intercontinental Champion. And I do feel like he is going to get rewarded. And that moment where they reward him with a world title or something will be huge, but...
It will. And he just signed a new deal, last year?
Yeah, I want to say so. But also, too, it's like, remember how I fantasy booked the Sami Zayn thing? Sami Zayn being heel and beating Jey Uso eventually. Man, Chad Gable has history with Sami, so imagine if Chad Gable were to beat Sami for the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know. I'm just...
Yeah, because a lot of people at the time, they argued that Chad Gable beating a guy like Gunther wasn't logical, but Sami Zayn did. Now, Chad Gable beating Sami Zayn is in some world logical, right? Yeah. You could see it happening.
Yeah. Brian McHattie did mention as well, there was no mention of Pegasus Kid on commentary, so that's cool. Yeah. I didn't know because, like I said, I don't really watch with commentary too much anymore. That it just depends on the show. Like obviously yesterday, like I was watching with a little bit of the volume, but I also wasn't watching live because I was driving back from my trip. So that was also
probably for the better. They didn't mention the Pegasus Kid.
Yeah, that is crazy. But I kind of understand where people are coming from. Makes sense.
For sure.
I see people in the chat even mentioning the Patriot and. I don't know, man. I want to see WWE put some more respect on the luchadors.
For sure. I think we're going to start seeing it.
Yeah, I think so. I think hopefully that's what this leads to. And then obviously Chad Gable gets away from it. But we'll see where the story leads us. Overall thoughts on Raw last night was great, dude.
Yeah. I feel the exact same way. I thought the show overall, bell to bell was the overall good show. I think the kickoff was just... It really set the tone for what the night was going to be. They slowed down a little bit, but overall, it was a good show.
Yeah.
They did things that they were supposed to do.
Pretty sweet seeing what WWE has done. And I just wanted to share something with you guys really quick. Triple H put out a tweet 4 minutes ago, which is why I was looking down at my phone for a second, because it makes me wonder a little bit if WWE can potentially come back to Full Sail. But Triple H put out a tweet with him, Linda McMahon, and then Greg Jones, who is, I guess, the president of Full Sail University. I don't know. But he says, last week I was honored to receive the Full Sail Industry Icon Award. Full Sail gave WWE NXT a new home and helped us create industry-defining moments. We'll always be proud of our connection. Thank you to President Gary Jones, and congratulations to all this year's honorees. I wanted to point this out because I obviously will talk about NXT tomorrow because NXT goes live tonight. I like the Performance Center. I feel like they've done a really good job with the Performance Center and turning it into what it is with NXT. But I wonder, obviously, and they've also done a really good job of going outside the Performance Center. But I am really curious to see if maybe WWE can kind of get back on track with Full Sail. And maybe
bring the shows back to Full Sail.
Yeah, man. And then do WWE evolve from the Performance Center in front of that crowd.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm just saying NXT is growing. It's obviously, it doesn't need to be at the PC all the time. And they're obviously able to go on tour a little bit more. I don't know. I feel like WWE hasn't really talked much about Full Sail in a long time. And I honestly, I believed, this was like my own personal thing, but I always kind of believed that maybe there was like a relationship issue between the two because of the fact that WWE left Full Sail and went to the PC, and then we never really see them talk about Full Sail. So that was something I just kind of want to bring up on the stream.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd love to see it though.
Yeah. And then I know Trevon Womakis says if WWE can't scoop up Full Sail, TNA needs to make the Full Sail their own. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tolino Channel dropping a super chat for 40 rupees. Will Chelsea go hair versus hair? Broken bride, bald. I don't know. Chelsea Green is awesome. I love what they're doing with Chelsea, Piper, and Alba Fire.
It's cool.
She's got her Secret Service. Some people are saying that potentially we might see Chelsea Green in a match with Nikki Bella at WrestleMania. I know some people are saying. I've seen people throw out the hair versus hair narrative. I don't think that's going to happen. But Chelsea Green is, she's crazy, bro. She did some stuff really wild, the Undead Bride stuff kind of thing in TNA.
Yeah.
She's a good character, bro. I don't know. We'll see what they do. I think for WWE, if they're smart, by the way, because people are wondering what they're going to do with the women's division, maybe have Alba Fire and Piper Niven formally become a tag team in the women's division, and then you can do your women's tag team championship match. Because I know some people in the chat earlier on the stream mentioned, like, well, what do you do with Liv Morgan at WrestleMania? So you could do Bella Twins versus Piper Niven, Alba Fire versus Raquel and Liv.
Multi-woman match.
Yeah, women's championship. And then obviously the Bella Twins could win, and like that's their little hoorah. But we'll see.
That'd be cool.
I think for regarding this super chat though, I mean, if I could be honest, man, with Chelsea Green, I would love to see her more in a position where perfect example. Do a singles match with her and Zelina Vega. Whoever else they really want to build the women's mid card with. But you could go that route where like have her go up against somebody where I think Zelina Vega is a good example because Zelina Vega went to Backlash Puerto Rico and then she didn't win, but she had that awesome match with Rhea. So like, give somebody a chance, some new faces. Right next week we got Raquel versus Lyra Valkyria. I don't like that because Raquel, she's a women's tag team champion, So like with Chelsea, I would like to see more feuds. I'm not really too fond of the idea of her going up against Nikki Bella by herself. Obviously, that's a big matchup, and that's going to be a massive one for the mid card. But
that would really help Chelsea Green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. Shout out to Tolino Channel for the super chat. Thank you. If anybody has any last minute super chats, get those in before we conclude today's show. Billy, quick question, and I'm just curious to know what you think as we wrap up the show today. Obviously, with Cena coming back, and we'll see him more and more. You mentioned earlier, like, hey, probably turn him back to babyface.
Yeah.
Just as a final piece of the show, John Cena, because you said John Cena doesn't win number 17 at WrestleMania. Do you have John Cena win number 17 at all?
No.
You don't think he breaks the record?
No.
Even if he turned back to a babyface?
Yeah. I think the story here, I'll just give like a little insight. I think the story here is that John Cena went away from his morals, and people who go away from their morals, you think that they feel in their heart of heart that they're supposed to get rewarded. Again, look at what John Cena's doing. He's coming out there and he's saying, "Oh, I never gave up. I never did that. You did." CM Punk kind of said it a couple weeks ago. He said, you've been feeding these kids bullshit the last 20 years, et cetera, et cetera. I think you can't reward somebody who's gone away from their morals. And not only that, not only just reward, but a person who is trying to chase something and they're doing it the wrong way, they may have a moment of glory, right? Kind of what happened at Elimination Chamber, where he had that really big moment and it was huge, and he'll probably continuously have big moments, right?
Yeah.
But really, at the end of the day, I know the saying was, good guys always finish last. Well, if you've ever seen a movie, it's not always the truth. The good guy always prevails. And what we're witnessing here is literally and I use this word very, very highly in this statement, but it actually is it's a cinematic film, is what you're witnessing. So, of course, am I a believer that you could have John Cena win and you could tell a story that way? Of course. You could have John Cena, because you can make the same argument that John Cena could have his big moment at WrestleMania with the championship, and then he could ultimately lose it down the line to Cody. I just think that the better story behind it is that he doesn't win it at all.
Me and you are so far apart on that prediction, bro. That's insane.
That's okay, though. I like that. I like that.
No, I know. I'm just shocked. Yeah. Brian McCaddy dropped the $5 super chat. He says, "Could we see two Univ matches at WrestleMania?" I'm guessing he means like championship matches. WrestleMania, Cody versus Cena Saturday. Cena wins 17. Punk calls in favor, gets main event for night 2, and either wins or loses. The only thing, really quick, Billy, the only thing I have a problem with that is how does Paul Heyman pull the strings for that to happen?
Right. Like, he would essentially have to have something over Adam Pearce's or Nick Aldis's head to essentially pull that string.
Oh, shit, Billy, you just woke me the fuck up. What if Paul Heyman, behind the scenes, we don't know this, but he does have some dirt on Nick Aldis or Adam Pearce?
Yeah.
And then that becomes a fucking storyline.
It could. I think that would be the like underlining factor to let this be like a thing that makes sense. You have to have Paul Heyman holding something over Nick Aldis or Adam Pearce.
That could work. I don't think we see 2 championship matches, personally speaking. I like I said, I think it's very simplified. I've been saying I think it's very simplified. But if they wanted to do what Brian McCaddy is saying in his super chat, and it's a long stretch, it's a long, long stretch, but if they wanted to, you can have a very compelling storyline between Paul Heyman and one of those GMs. And by the way, I think a lot of people do want to see Nick Aldis return at one point. So what if it led to Nick Aldis getting fired as GM, demoted from GM, and he could just be an in-ring competitor, right? That could be really huge. But
it could.
But who knows?
It also could just be really simple.
But also, too, one thing that you have to factor in, Paul Heyman does have, if Punk wants a favor and Paul Heyman wants to make it, then maybe Punk's favor requires him to sell his soul. Hey, we'll give you a championship match, but you got to sell your soul. What if that was the case? And then Paul Heyman goes to The Rock and gets it done. So maybe Cody and Cena actually main event night 1. Cena loses, and then Punk then gets granted. I don't know. I think it's becoming too much, but it is very fun to think about for sure.
I agree.
Shout out to Brian McCaddy for the super chat. Ladies and gentlemen, we're over an hour and 16 minutes. Appreciate you all coming by. Thank you to everybody for helping us smash the super chat goal. Thank you to everybody watching us live on X as well. Very, very fun stream.
For sure.
Excited to be back, obviously, between traveling and stuff like that. But now the grind continues. I made a video earlier today with some good wrestling news. If you guys want to check that out, we'll have some clips and some highlights on the second channel as well. Shout out to everybody who subscribed. Shout out to everybody who super chatted. Shout out to everybody keeping the chat going so fast that it's so hard to keep up with. And then if you guys haven't followed Billy TKO, make sure you guys do subscribe to him at Billy TKO. And with that being said, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow.
Peace.